Hello, everyone. It's lovely to see you all here again. And I'm very happy to be speaking with Hanna-Leena Ward today, who is an icon painter of great artistic talent. I love her work. And I've invited her here today to talk to us because she's been a very strong participant of the Come Eat With Me exhibition that we've recently got on at Rochester. So if you're seeing this retrospectively, then just go back and have a look and find the website and have a look at the exhibition. But as I'm speaking to Hanna-Leena now, it's current. So welcome, Hanna-Leena. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here with you today.
So we haven't had a real chance to talk because we've been busy when we've been in the same part of the cathedral, and you've been very much in demand because of your reputation and your talent and skills and the work that you've produced. So can I just ask you then to tell us and share with us how you started painting icons? And what is an icon and what exactly do you do? It's fascinating what I've read so far. So I'm like really interested to know how you explain it. That's what I want to say. How do you explain it?
Well, I tell you about me a little bit, that I am an interior architect by profession. That was my first profession, but maybe around 20 years ago, I started icon painting. But the urge or need, or how do you say, to paint icons started when I was a teenager. My close friend's mother painted icons in Finland. I'm from Finland, and Finland is like all the northern European countries, Lutheran. So in our churches, a church where I went when I was a child, we had no images whatsoever, just a cross on the altar, and that was all Lutheran churches in general. There is. So I was brought up in a Lutheran church and went to Sunday school and every Sunday to church with my parents. But I always, when I was a teenager, this friend of mine whose mother was painting icons introduced me to Orthodox church and Orthodox imagery, and it fascinated me straight away. She took me to Orthodox churches, and I loved that beauty there that was there, the mystical beauty and atmosphere, and that always appealed to me. And I always searched for Orthodox churches wherever I traveled. I used to go to Orthodox churches because of the beauty and the imagery. But I never started painting until, as I said, 20 years ago, when my life changed. My mother died, and there was a sort of a sorrow in my family. So that took me to Finland. First time. My mother had always wanted me to paint icons. For some reason, she was encouraging me, and she bought my first book. And only when she died, I managed to go to paint my first icon in Finland, in the monastery, Palamo Monastery there. Wow. And that changed my life completely. My first icon, and that was it. I wanted to paint icons. I came back to UK. I live in Caterham here in Surrey, and I came back home. I've got 5 children and 5 grandchildren now, so I have a big family. So I never managed to devote my time to icons completely until they were a bit older, and I finished my career as an interior designer and started looking for icon teachers, and I found Aidan Hart here, and I started studying. I did 4 years with him, and I did master's degree at the Prince's School of Traditional Arts in London in sacred art, which was in Islamic art. My degree is really in Islamic art, but I specialized in Christian art. And I got that passion for iconography, and I started painting with lots of different masters and wanted to learn as much as possible, and yes, became professional iconographer, and I have loved the career path the new career path that I took. But that was all thanks to my mother. She was, can I tell you briefly about my mother? Because
yes, please do.
she was such a strong influence to me, and she was the one who encouraged me to paint icons initially, and she was a young nurse in the war when Russia invaded Finland, and she was sent to the front line in the war. And being a young nurse, she must have experienced quite horrendous things. She was a Red Cross nurse. So Red Cross nurses, they look after everyone, enemies as well. And she had a Russian soldier whom she had looked after when he was dying. And this Russian soldier had asked my mother to find his mother to tell that he's been well looked after in the hospital, but he's dying. And after the war, my mother found this Russian woman, and she gave this message from her son. I always cry when I'm telling this, because it's such a beautiful story in a way that they looked after everyone, and this boy, a young man who had died, my mother had managed to tell his mother that he had died, of course, that was a sad news, but at least mother knew what had happened to him. Yeah. And my mother told that they had done everything to keep him alive, and they looked after him. And my mother was in faith, and she had said prayers with him before he had died. So this Russian woman, when she heard about this, she gave my mother a little icon.
Oh.
And for Orthodoxy, icons are the most special items. So she gave my mother this little icon, which has treasure. My mother has treasured it. It was in our home always, and I didn't really realize it until my mother told me and gave the icon to me. I have that now. And that sort of my mother always passed the message to us children. She was trying to encourage and told how difficult it is to forgive. That was our message from her always, that we've got to learn to forgive. And during the war, how difficult it is to forgive when you see so much horrors. But that was always my mother's message, that we have to try to learn to forgive. And this icon is, which I have now, that my mother gave me, is a symbol for that, and reminder of looking after each other, no matter who we are, because we are all the same people. The war is the politics and the, yeah.
But that brings me to the point about icons then, because as I understand it, when you are painting an icon, you try to link or feel or sense the person or the situation that you're painting. Is that right? That you kind of have a
yes, and every icon really has Christ in them. We are praying for Christ, and icons are being painted in prayer and for prayer. Icons are part of the Orthodox Church liturgy. So they are quite strict. It is strict how we paint them. Of course, they have to be approved by the church. Any church. Now we're painting for Catholic Church and Anglican Church and Lutheran Church, and they have to be approved by the church, of course. And there are lots of rules and symbols that we have to obey. But of course, we can put our own handwriting, of course, into icons, but otherwise they are quite strict how we paint. Or I try to remind the students that they are not just pretty pictures, they are icons, and they are part of the church liturgy.
And there's a big difference, isn't there, between the different church styles? Stylistically, there are differences. And is that true also of the medium?
Sorry,
well, the styles of the icons. A friend of mine is Russian, and she came to see the exhibition, and she could see that there were different styles in iconography to what she experienced in Russia. And so I'm wondering if also that the medium, the technique that you use is also different for each kind of religion, really, that you're going into.
Yes, the icon of the oldest icons are in Mount Sinai and Mount Athos in Greece, and the ancient Byzantine icons, they came from Greece, and Greek iconographers went to Russia to teach them when Russia became Christian. And so the influence came from Greece, and it's gone from Macedonia. All different countries have slightly different style, of course, but the two main technical styles is Greek and Russian.
Right.
But Greek is the ancient older tradition, but Russians have then refined that to very beautiful technique. And I paint. I have been painting with the Russians and Romanians and Greek, and so I paint with different techniques. I have learned to study with many different techniques, and the Greek technique is slightly drier. It's drier technique painting, and Russian is quite wet technique. We paint lots of floats over, and so yes, different techniques. And I have been studying more Russian techniques. So my technique is sort of more Russian, maybe a little bit Greek, a mixture. My
so
own
interesting. Yeah. Yes, and obviously that's a lot of study there. So whereabouts do you find the work then? Do they come to you, or do you go to them? And how does a church
Lots
find
of people
you?
have been, yes, people have been approaching me, and they see my work online or somewhere, and they approach me, and I paint for churches and private chapels and private collectors. So I've been painting over the years, lots of commission work. At the moment, I'm painting for one little church, St. Peter's and Paul Church in Kent, and and yes, there's all the time commission work for private collectors or churches.
Wonderful. So how did you come to the Come Eat With Me exhibition? It's a beautiful installation exhibition. If anybody in the audience now hasn't seen it, please go to the website, Spirit Arts UK. I'll give some details in the comments, but to explain to some of the audience then, how did you come to be part of that exhibition?
I don't know how I came out of it, but I'm really honored that I was invited to come there. That was, I guess, because I'm an iconographer.
But it's in Rochester Cathedral on the great big 5,000-year-old nation's table. It's quite dramatic.
How lovely it is. I had just, I had just finished my solo exhibition at Southwark Cathedral. So I had a 20-day exhibition there just before this exhibition in Rochester. So I'm hoping to have more of my own icon exhibitions around the country now that I have sort of set it all up. And the previous exhibition was here in Caterham last year. So once a year maybe on my own one. But yes, what a lovely honor to have been invited to Rochester Cathedral for this exhibition, which is stunningly beautiful. I was so happy to come there. And apparently there is a Eucharist tonight at 6:30, which I'd like to come for, on the table, on the long, beautiful table.
Yes. I've been told about that, and I'm trying to get there. I think it's quite memorable. I think the whole thing has been quite an experience for myself as a contributor as well, because I had no idea or I don't think any of the artists knew exactly what they were getting into and how it would look and the impression it would make within that atmosphere. And it's become rather marvelous, very memorable. And just for the audience sake, you did a beautiful painting on a roundel. So iconography is often square, isn't it? The ones behind you are framed, sort of squares. But for this exhibition, it was round, And I understand that's not common, but you did a beautiful, beautiful one of the Christ, of Jesus in the centre. And for those of you who haven't seen the exhibition, it's based on the Last Supper, influenced and inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's version. And each artist was asked to express one of the apostles, and some other people have given other significant characters as well, religious characters. But your icon, Hanna-Leena, it was so immaculate, is the word. I haven't seen a painting that has moved me so much for its precision, its colouring, its style, its emphasis, and the personality of the Christ, of Jesus. And I'm not an active Christian. I was brought up in Christianity, but I don't consider myself as a practicing Christian at all. But it definitely moved me. And the word that always comes to me for your work is immaculate. How did you feel when you saw it there?
Oh, it was very special to see it there. But on that table is amazing. And yes, it was special, but of course I didn't know where it was going to go. I hadn't seen the table while I was painting it, but it is a prayer, and it comes, my hand is guided. And
yes, and it certainly drew the crowds. There's been a lot of people exposed to all of the artists, but exposed to iconography, and I don't think many members of the public, those that came, had come across access to really look at icons in that way for the general public that came.
That's why I am having exhibitions. Of course, icons are not painted for exhibition at all; they are for private prayer. But because people don't see them that often, that's why I thought it's my duty to exhibit them and talk to people about iconography, and I give lectures about the meaning of icons and the history of icons, and it is important for general public to understand them a little bit more.
I think so. Even if you're not particularly Christian or religious, they certainly have moved a lot of people. And also, you do teach, don't you? Do you pass your skills on?
Yes, that's my duty, really. I really feel that I need to. I have been so fortunate to have such fantastic education myself. I have been able to study with lots of very good masters in iconography, and now it's my duty to pass the skills on, and I really enjoy it because I did get so much out of it myself. It is really wonderful to see how much other people do get in it. And it is like art therapy, but with faith is even more powerful, and it is very healing and strength giving to paint them and to be with them. So
yeah, I think it's imagery is very powerful anyway on the psyche on any level. So just before we close then, because I just want to tempt people to look into iconography and to find you and to look at your work. So that magnificent piece in the background. What is your favourite aspect of iconography, or which are your favourite characters? You said the Christ is in everything, but what do you prefer to paint?
This is the icon that I'm teaching in Greece this year. I'm doing a course, 2-week course in Lesbos Island this year. So if anyone is interested in, this is what we have. The more experienced iconographer or icon painters will paint this image, and then the beginners will paint Christ close-up image. So usually I start close-up face, whether it's a virgin face or some saint. It's always the beginners will have to practice with the face first. That's the hardest thing, of course. And then, yes, this is the one with paint in Greece. I teach at the Princess School, or King's School now, King's School of Traditional Arts in London, in Shoreditch.
Okay.
I did my master's degree there, and there are wonderful courses there in Islamic and Indian miniature painting or whatever, but I teach there icon painting regularly. Every term I teach at least one course there. So next one will be next month. I'm painting the Bethlehem angel from Bethlehem Nativity Church. There are mosaics on Nativity Church in Bethlehem, and I've taken that drawing, and we are supporting, of course, hoping that the war ends, and we are praying with this angel at the Prince's School, King's School next month. And yes, I paint there. I teach there regularly, and also Rochester Cathedral now. I'm doing courses there, either illuminated manuscript courses or icon painting courses.
Okay.
And now Easter egg painting, of course.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Ukrainian community.
Yes, yeah.
On Saturday now, and in different places. And I've been teaching. I used to teach in Bethlehem, but of course now we can't go there. And I used to teach in Spain and in Finland. So I go where they invite me to give a course. Next one is in Finland as well in this summer. So if anyone is interested in joining the courses, please contact me, and I'll send all the information. I don't think my website is up to date with the courses at the moment, so they can contact me, and I'll.
Do you have an email address? Which email address could they use?
It's Hanna L. Ward.
hannahlward.com.
HANNALWARD @hotmail.com.
Lovely. I'll make sure it's in the comments below and the description. Yeah, that's brilliant. I know that sometimes when people are watching, they quickly scribble things down and take actions straight away. So it's always good to give some information during the actual interview. Well, that's amazing, and it certainly whets your appetite to see more, to perhaps do more, and to follow you. So I do recommend that everybody follows Hanna Leena. I think it's amazing what she does. You've got a very calm disposition. I'm sure you're a very good teacher. And if anybody would like to talk to Hanna Leena, then just email her and maybe follow her on. You're on social media. You're on Facebook, aren't you? And Instagram.
Yes, and Instagram, and British Association of Iconographers have lots of my images on the.
Okay, I didn't know there was a British association, so I've learned something else, and I think that's what's so wonderful. You have certainly helped us to understand icons, and that image behind you is beautiful. You've got a very calm nature, and as I say, I think it's, as a form of prayer and faith, I think it's wonderful, as well as being something that would a feast for the eyes as well as the soul. So thank you. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed meeting Hanna Leena, and do follow her, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.